This is Batman vs. Robin, and when we last left off, Batman had returned to the Batcave to find Alfred back from the dead after being killed in the city of Bane. He went down to the Batcave to then discover Robin seemingly wanted to take over as Batman and remove Bruce from the role. We discovered in issue 1 and 2 that Robin was being manipulated by Mother Soul, his great-grandmother, and that the demon Neja was having a hand in the events that were unfolding. On top of that, at the end of issue 2, we discovered that Alfred may not be the Alfred that we assumed he was. Batman then decided to figure out what exactly is going on with Damian and how he can save his son from eternal damnation. This is the Comicstorian channel. I take comic books, I read them dramatically back to you, and then you get to decide what you want to add to your collection, if anything. And today we're going to be covering Batman vs. Robin, issue number 3. With Neja's hold over Damian remaining strong, Batman flies to Lazarus Island to confront his son. But Alfred poses a concerning question. He's quite happy that they found transportation to reach Damian, but how does he suppose that the boy is unaware of the plane? Batman says that Damian is well aware of all of his resources and contingencies. He would have left the plane, and only the plane, on purpose. Damian wants them to come to Lazarus Island, and they can't count on any family for backup. Batwoman, Batsignal, the Batgirls, Damian has done something to leave them all offline. Damian knows that they're coming. But through Alfred's eyes, Mother Soul watches, telling her grandson that Batman is en route. Damian turns to her. "Thank you, but my Robins will not go into battle unarmed. To Timothy Drake, I give him the Cloak of Caligostro. Jason Todd, the Trident of Poseidon. Stephanie Brown, the Coop Stick of Black Bison, and Dick Grayson, the most powerful weapon, the Sword of Sin. Battle stations, everyone! By sunset, Father will be dead!" Back on the mainland of the island, Batman lands and tells Alfred to be prepared for anything. If Damian wishes to engage him, he'll try to wear him down. Alfred asks, "How do you know?" "Because that's what I would do, which is why you're staying here." Alfred argues about staying on the plane, but Batman tells him that this is not up for discussion. "I cannot focus if I have to worry about two people. Remember what happened when we were caught in the Riddler's labyrinth, Alfred? Can't have that happen again." As Batman leaves for the jungle, Alfred tells him, "I suppose not. Go, save your boy, sir, and be careful." As Batman enters the dense forest, he climbs up a tree to scout the foot trail left on the ground. No doubt intended for him to follow. But as he holds his position, he's suddenly struck and knocked off of the branch. A voice tells him, "Keep your guard up." And it's Tim's voice. But it's too close to be hiding, which means that Tim is invisible. Batman lands a punch, but Tim appears, cracking him with his staff. "I was your Robin for years, and I was damn good at it. But the minute that Damian came, you replaced me." Batman falls to the ground, but as he gets up, he knows that Tim is possessed, and he's laying bare his deepest buried grievances. He can't take them personally. Batman yells, "You grew! You didn't need me anymore! You were fine on your own!" At least that's what Batman tells himself. And Tim isn't wrong. Could Batman have done better by Tim? It's startling how heavily that question weighs on Bruce. But first, he needs to disrupt him. As brilliant a combatant as he is, his greatest skill is as a detective, which isn't helping him now. With a quick flick of his wrist, Batman takes off his cloak, throwing it on Tim to reveal where he is, slamming him into the ground. He ties him up and rolls his shoulder, already feeling it wrenched. He has to stay vigilant, even if this is the first trap. Back in the lower caves of the island, Neja asks a chained pig creature, "Where is he?" And the being laughs. "After all of these centuries, and you've never learned small talk." Neja smacks him, and Mother Soul asks who. The creature spits a mouthful of blood. "My name is Zubaji. Pigsy to my friends. And yeah, me and Neja go way back." "Has he told you the big secret yet about why he's doing all of this? He's not gearing to play offensively. He's playing defense." Neja hits him again, demanding to know where is he. And Pigsy says that he could have just asked because he cannot wait to see the look on his face. But he tells him he's already here, on Earth. Your son has finally arrived, and he cannot wait to say hello. Back in the jungle, Batman comes to an opening, but before he can hardly set foot in it, vines reach out, wrapping themselves around him. Using a small pocket laser, Batman cuts himself free, and Stephanie Brown, the spoiler, tells him, "You might want to hang on to that. I'm just getting started." Batman frees himself and a tree trunk falls over it with Stephanie yelling, "You never took me seriously! You always made me feel like a mascot, not a Robin. I was clay in your hands. You could have made me into anything and you didn't even bother." There's truth in her statement. Batman could have taken the time to train her better, but he didn't. And Stephanie is now a Batgirl under Barbara's watch. As the ground erupts from underneath him, Batman is thrown off the ledge of a cliff, but Stephanie's attacks are weak. She's less of an obstacle than Tim was, which would mean she's not alone. Down on the shoreline, a wave of water shoots up, crashing into Batman. He looks behind, seeing Jason wielding the Trident of Poseidon. "Hey, don't worry, I'll get him." And then he hits Batman with another wave, slamming him into the wall and down to the ground. He walks right over to Bruce. "We're all disposable to you, aren't we? I died and came back and you still ignored me! Why didn't you look for me?" Batman throws an explosive pellet to gain some distance, but Jason absorbs them in the water, getting closer. "How could you not spend every waking minute trying to save me?" Once Jason is close enough to strike with the trident, Batman gets up, punching him in the stomach, telling himself that he doesn't have to answer. Why didn't he make Jason a priority? Maybe he was afraid of what he'd find, afraid of what he'd have to own up to, a ward that he'd let turn into Joe Chill. Batman wrestles the trident from Jason's hands, hitting him on the side of the head, and then rides the water back up to the cave with Stephanie, where he makes quick work of her. He groans, already feeling himself in pain, but with 3 of the Robins down, only one remains. The first one. Hand to hand, the toughest of them all. Back in the cave, Damian walks up to Pigsy. "I know you." "Yeah, we met. You were much nicer then. And now, magically, you're his puppet. But I do have a question." Damian tells him, "I don't care." "Are you sure? You're kind of sensitive to this stuff. Deep down, there's a part of you pushing against Neja's control, or else you wouldn't be standing here." After a few moments pass, Damian finally asks, "What is the question?" And Pigsy simply asks, "What do you get out of all of this?" Damian goes on explaining that Mother Soul's goal is to do what Roz wanted to do, but better. Pigsy just turns it on him again. "Right, but what about you?" Damian tries to think, but as he speaks, he begins to stutter. "Yeah, that's what I thought. Kid, Damian, listen. I've known Neja since we were both young. He used to be a hero, did he not? But all of this Lazarus juice that he used to make himself immortal and pump up his magic, it's corruptive, corrosive." Damian says that he understands. "This corruption, can it be reversed?" At that moment, the fiery green hand of Neja grabs Damian from behind. "It is not corruption, it is clarity." Using that fire, Neja burns Pigsy's face to melt his mouth shut. But back over topside, the sun begins to set as Batman reaches a cave, getting out of the brush. Alfred runs out. "Thank God! Master Dickies!" Nightwing sits perched a rock. And Batman tells him, "I see him." Quite the dramatic entrance. "Haha! You know me? Forever the showman, Bruce." With no supplies left, Batman pulls off the utility belt as his only weapon to fight with. Nightwing asks him, "Do you remember that I was in the circus, right? People used to come by the thousands to see the Flying Graysons." Their applause was electric. The rush was unbelievable. Then you came and you took it all away. You hid Dick Grayson behind a mask. Batman thinks for a moment. Nightwing has never said anything like that before. Should he have realized it? And Nightwing yells, "I could still show off as long as nobody knew that it was me. Robin lived so that Dick Grayson could die." They both begin to struggle as Batman thinks back to what Damian said. It was similar. That he could have given any of these kids an ordinary, normal life free of danger. Instead, oh God, what kind of monster am I? I don't deserve to win here. Who am I to fight them, punish them simply for... Wait, that sword. That's Azrael's sword of sin, and manifests guilt and doubts it in the opponent's mind and magnifies it for them. It's been working on me since I arrived. Well played. Nightwing swings again, hitting Batman's arm, telling him, "I'm under orders from Damian that he gets the killing blow, but I have seniority." Nightwing swings again, this time cutting into Batman's chest, and Alfred yells out, "Be careful! He's out of defenses!" Batman looks back, grabbing Alfred by the arm, and as Nightwing swings again, he shoves Alfred in the way as a shield. As the sword plunges into Alfred's stomach, there's a moment that Nightwing takes brief control of his mind, just long enough for Batman to knock him out. Alfred falls over, and he bleeds green. "You knew that you were a spy?" I knew within 3 minutes and you just kept confirming it. It was the small things about how you spoke, like when we had tea. The real Alfred despises oolong tea. And when I mentioned the Riddler's Labyrinth, you didn't deny it, but there never was a Riddler's Labyrinth. You knew enough about Alfred's life to answer all of my questions, but not enough to contradict me when you thought I was telling the truth. I played along as to not alert your master, but now what I want is for you to tell your master that I'm coming. Give him a message, that I'm not leaving without. But the wounds of the day catch up to Batman as he falls to his knees. The demon within Alfred's body escapes laughing and flies away throughout the mountains, and Batman looks back at Alfred, taking off his mask, exhausted, and Alfred speaks. Batman looks at him. It's impossible. That voice, it's softer than before, more gentle, more authentic. No, this is just another trick. Tell your master. But Alfred chimes in. No, Master Bruce, it's me. In a sense, to properly replicate me, Neja required the tiniest echo of my actual soul, the faintest whisper. He had to crack the door to the afterlife to seize it, and now it's fading. The sword. Oh God, I've killed! But Alfred pauses him again. No, you did not. I am nothing more than a shadow. This was never a way to get me back. But I refuse to go until you accept something, Bruce. Damian imagines that I blame him for my death. I do not. He, of course, blames himself. And I will not allow that. You were half a world away. Not even you could have possibly prevented it. This is unnecessary remorse. I can find no peace while watching you carry an unearned burden. Batman stops him. But, and Alfred interrupts him again. Do you really wish for me to be disquieted for all eternity? Don't cheat me out of agency, or I will be quite cross, Bruce. Neja exploited a wound in you. I'm asking you to close it so that you can find strength and healing. You'll need it to save Master Damian. Batman holds Alfred close. I miss you, Alfred. And Alfred begins to fade. We will meet again, my dear boy. Your parents, they send their love. Alfred's body begins to fade into nothing. And Batman takes a deep breath, pulling up the cowl and beginning to bandage himself. Once ready, he stands up, beginning to walk into the mountain cave. I've seriously been enjoying Batman vs. Robin since the whole thing started, but now it's all starting to make sense and all come together. The story is just getting that much better for me. Plus, those moments with Bruce and Alfred, they were just heartwarming. I loved reading that in the comic book when it happened. What do you guys think about it, though? Let me know in the comments down below, and give this video a like and subscribe if you want more of this. We're going to be bringing these as single issues because it's just so exciting to see these issues coming out that I really want to tell you guys about them. And I guess I'll see you guys next time, right here at Comicstorian.